Look under your sink right now. I guarantee there's a plastic spray bottle filled with a translucent, bright blue liquid. It promises streak-free shine. It promises crystal clear glass. And I also guarantee that no matter how hard you scrub, how much elbow grease you use, or how many rolls of paper towels you burn through, that blue liquid always leaves behind a dull, hazy film on your bathroom mirrors and shower doors. That is not your imagination. And it is certainly not a flaw in your cleaning technique. You're trapped in a cycle designed by a multi-billion-dollar cleaning industry. Most of those brightly colored products lining the supermarket aisles are loaded with artificial fragrances, foaming agents, and synthetic detergents that do not actually clean. They just smear the existing residue around, creating an endless cycle of wiping, squinting at the light, and complete frustration. Let's break the illusion right now. When you buy a powerful glass cleaner, what you're really paying for is water, usually around 90% of the volume in that bottle. The active ingredients? A tiny splash of slow evaporating ammonia, some harsh detergents, and a cheap blue dye designed to make it look clinical and scientific. Yes, ammonia cleans, but it evaporates slowly, and that sluggish evaporation time is exactly why your glass looks cloudy 10 minutes after you finish wiping. The liquid hangs around just long enough to trap microscopic airborne dust before it finally dries. But it gets worse. The real enemy in your bathroom isn't just dust, it's limescale. Limescale is a hardened, calcified mineral deposit. To the naked eye, it looks like a foggy white water spot. But on a microscopic level, it looks like jagged, aggressively anchored barnacles clinging to the hull of a ship. Standard commercial cleaners do not stand a chance against that kind of rigid, crystalline structure. Spraying blue water on limescale is like trying to melt a glacier with a matchstick. This is the story of the five-star hotel secret, and why the retail cleaning industry wants you to keep buying blue water. Welcome to the channel. If practical, science-driven truths matter to you, subscribe and hit the bell. This is where we uncover the home care knowledge the industry buried. Before we get to the solution, you need to understand the trap you are currently in. Let's call it the residue trap. Most commercial glass cleaners are packed to the brim with artificial surfactants. Surfactants are chemical compounds designed to lower the surface tension of water so it doesn't beat up. But when you wipe that liquid away with a paper towel, you aren't removing those chemicals. You are systematically stretching them out into a thin, invisible, sticky film across the entire pane of glass. This invisible residue acts exactly like a magnet. Every time you take a hot shower, your bathroom fills with steam. That steam condenses against the cool shower door, instantly rehydrating and reactivating that chemical film. While the glass is wet, airborne dust, microscopic skin flakes, aerosolized hairspray, and soap splatter drift through the air and stick firmly to it. When the shower is off and the moisture finally evaporates, you are left with a foggy, semi-opaque haze. Your glass is instantly dirty again. If you don't believe this invisible layer exists, try this tonight. Go into your bathroom, turn off the overhead lights, and shine your phone's flashlight directly across the surface of your mirror from a sharp side angle. What you see will shock you. Instead of a smooth piece of glass, you will see a chaotic lunar landscape, streaks that look like comet tails, rainbow-like oil slicks shifting in the light, swirling microscratches left by paper towels. These are the undeniable fingerprints of commercial cleaners. They didn't clean your glass, they altered its surface tension and left behind a sticky trap. So, how do the professionals do it? Executive housekeepers in five-star hotels do not have the luxury of time. When turning over a high-end suite, they have to reset an entire master bathroom in under 20 minutes. They cannot do the spray, wipe, and pray dance, and they cannot leave a suite reeking of harsh chemical fumes. Their secret weapon isn't an expensive industrial solvent. It's sitting in your kitchen pantry right now. It is cornstarch. Yes, the exact same fine white powder you use to thicken gravy. In the world of material care, cornstarch particles sit in a highly specific sweet spot. They are milled fine enough to completely avoid scratching delicate glass, but they remain structurally abrasive enough to physically break down stubborn, calcified mineral deposits. When you combine cornstarch with white vinegar and isopropyl alcohol, you create a hybrid mechanical chemical solution that is exponentially more effective than anything on a retail shelf. Now you might be thinking, why not just use plain vinegar? I read online that vinegar is the ultimate natural cleaner. Chemically speaking, that makes sense. Acetic acid, the active component in vinegar, readily dissolves hard alkaline deposits like calcium. But in practical everyday application, vinegar alone almost always disappoints. Why? Gravity. Limescale builds up vertically on shower doors and vanity mirrors. The exact second you spray liquid vinegar onto vertical glass, it starts running toward the floor. Chemical reactions are not instantaneous. They require dwell time. The acid needs minutes to actually penetrate and break the molecular bonds of the minerals. But watery vinegar simply slides off, racing down to pool uselessly at the bottom of your shower seal. It becomes a foot race between chemistry and physics always wins. You end up standing in a bathroom choking on pungent vinegar fumes, still staring at stubborn water rings. This is exactly where cornstarch changes the entire equation. At a microscopic level, deep cleaning is just a game of comparative hardness. Glass is a relatively hard material, about a 6.5 on the Mohs hardness scale. Limescale is softer but highly bonded to the surface. If you use something too hard, like a scouring pad, you permanently scratch the glass. If you use something too soft, like a kitchen sponge, it glides uselessly over the bumps. Cornstarch particles possess an irregular, multifaceted, crystalline structure. They behave like millions of microscopic polishing tools. They wedge themselves into the microscopic gaps and violently break the adhesive bond between the minerals and the glass, but they are not hard enough to scratch the surface beneath. Plus, as you wipe, the highly absorbent nature of cornstarch actively soaks up the sticky, greasy residues from aerosolized bathroom products. The vinegar softens the bonds. The cornstarch aggressively polishes them away. This video is just the beginning. I've collected the absolute best science-backed home care protocols in one place. No fluff. Straight to the point. But stay here, because I'm about to give you the exact formula and one critical mistake you must avoid. Here is your 5-star protocol. Grab a clean, empty spray bottle with a high-quality misting trigger. Combine the following. 1 pour 4 cup white vinegar. This is your primary mineral dissolving agent. 1 pour 4 cup isopropyl alcohol, 70% or higher. This aggressively cuts through body oils and soap scum and ensures the entire mixture evaporates rapidly to prevent streaking. 1 tablespoon cornstarch, your micropolishing component and grease absorber. 2 cups distilled water, the foundational carrier liquid. Listen to me carefully. This is the most important part of the video. Do not use tap water. This single substitution is where millions of people ruin their DIY cleaners. The very thing you're desperately trying to remove from your glass, hard minerals, is abundantly present in municipal tap water. If you use water straight from the sink, you're drawing calcium and magnesium out of your pipes and injecting it directly into your fresh cleaning solution. These alkaline minerals will immediately react with and neutralize your vinegar's acidity. Worse, as the alcohol evaporates on your glass, it will simply redeposit those tap water minerals right back onto your mirror. You're defeating the purpose before you even pull the trigger. Distilled water is entirely pure. In advanced chemistry, it is sometimes called hungry water. Because it has been stripped of all its minerals during the boiling and condensation process, it chemically desires to bind with things. It readily dissolves and carries away surface contaminants with terrifying efficiency. Spending $1 on a gallon of distilled water literally makes or breaks this entire formula. You must shake the bottle thoroughly before every use until the mixture transforms into a cloudy, opalescent serum. Now let's talk execution, because your tools matter just as much as your chemistry. Throw out the old crumpled newspaper trick. That hack only worked decades ago when printing ink was petroleum-based. Modern newspapers use soy-based inks that smear instantly when wet, leaving a greasy residue on your glass and turning your hands black. Standard bath towels are just as bad. They furiously shed cotton fibers, making your mirror look like it's snowing. What you actually need is a waffle weave microfiber cloth. Its heavily textured, dimpled surface is a highly functional piece of material engineering. The deep grid pattern creates hundreds of tiny pockets that act like a snowplow. They trap the dirt, the cornstarch slurry, and the lifted minerals, pulling them up and away from the glass so you aren't just dragging them back and forth. And finally, we have to fix your technique. Most people instinctively clean glass in frantic, tight circular motions. The wax-on, wax-off method, this is a massive mistake. Circular wiping simply takes the dirt from the center of the glass and redistributes it to the edges over and over again. Furthermore, rapid circular friction generates an immense amount of static electricity. You are effectively turning your mirror into an electromagnet that immediately pulls fresh dust right back out of the air. Instead, use a structured Z or S pattern. Start at the top left corner, move horizontally across to the right edge, drop down slightly, and smoothly reverse direction back to the left. Always work in clean, straight, overlapping lines, systematically pulling the moisture from top to bottom. This prevents recontamination and drastically minimizes static buildup. Now, I need to be honest with you about one limitation: a reality check. If you meticulously follow all these steps, and your glass physically feels perfectly smooth to the touch, gliding effortlessly under your fingers, but it still looks undeniably cloudy to the eye, you are no longer dealing with buildup. You are dealing with etching. Etching happens when alkaline mineral deposits are allowed to sit on porous glass for years. Their highly alkaline nature gradually, relentlessly corrodes the surface of the glass at a microscopic level. It eats away the silica, creating millions of tiny, permanent craters. Even after you strip away every molecule of dirt, those physical pits remain. They scatter incoming light in chaotic directions, producing a permanent milky haze that looks exactly like a stain. At that point, no chemical cleaner on Earth can fix it. Because the problem is no longer something on the glass. The problem is a lack of glass itself. The only fix for severe etching is aggressive professional polishing using cerium oxide or completely replacing the pane. This is exactly why regular effective maintenance matters. Prevention, driven by good chemistry, is infinitely cheaper than restoration. But if your glass is intact, this formula will change your life. And it doesn't stop in the bathroom. Take this exact spray bottle out to your driveway. If your car's windshield squeaks violently, skips when you use the wipers, or creates a blinding astigmatism-like glare from oncoming headlights at night, it is covered in a dense mix of oily traffic film and baked-on minerals. Standard gas station squeegee water won't touch it. This cornstarch formula cuts through both layers simultaneously. The heavy alcohol dissolves the sticky, oily buildup from diesel exhaust and asphalt off-gassing. Meanwhile, the cornstarch aggressively polishes away the embedded rain deposits baked onto the glass. After a thorough cleaning with the Z-pattern technique, your windshield will feel almost invisible. The hazardous nighttime glare will be dramatically reduced. Cleaning, at its core, isn't about scrubbing until your arms ache. It is the practical, everyday application of chemistry, physics, and material science. Once you understand the molecular nature of what you are actually dealing with, you stop wasting your money on highly marketed illusions. You stop buying blue water, and you start working with true precision. If this kind of practical, no-nonsense approach to everyday problems resonates with you, subscribe and share this video. Every share helps someone else break the cycle. There's a whole fascinating world of hidden knowledge in home care waiting to be uncovered. From the actual chemical processes required to restore dried-out leather, to debunking the myths around formaldehyde in new furniture. We will dive into all of that next time. Stay sharp.